Good evening, everybody. What's happening? Rumble, YouTube, everybody, the whole family. What's good? What's happening? Ironwork 92,000 in the house, and welcome to True Earth Tuesday, where we discuss the true Earth. So, how's everybody's weekend? We got an action packed. Hopefully, I sound good. Hopefully, I look good too. You know what I'm saying? Because the last couple of weeks, it's just been crazy. I know I had a lot of people from the Flat Earth Philippines. Shout out to the Philippines, by the way. um Come in and tell me, man, I sounded crazy. So I sound crazy or I look crazy. Hopefully things have been cleaned up because now I got better internet and I've got better sound quality. So what do you think? Shannon Emerson, what's good? Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Shannon, a Soyuz wine tasting. What's good? What's happening? All right. All right. I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Um, I don't see Half Warrior. Usually Half Warriors usually here to greet us, you know what I'm saying? To welcome in the welcome train. So Half Warrior's not here this evening, but we'll wait it out. Hopefully he'll show up. Also, Yos, man, you kill me, man. You kill me with them. I'm killing it. Come on. I'm getting killed. Despite how much flack I get for discussing the true and level earth, the conditions of what this world is, you know what? I enjoy it. And I enjoy you guys, however big or small my audience is, I really enjoy having you guys here to discuss this stuff with me. Because if folks like us ain't going to tell the truth, who's going to do it? You know what I'm saying? And we're so tired of hearing the BS from things like CNN, Fox, The Onion. I know that's a joke channel, but all those different channels and everything else like that, man, we just can't stomach it no more. We're now at a time in our history and everybody's life where, stuff is expensive, gas is high, rent is high, mortgages are high. Some people are probably getting thrown out of their houses onto the streets, and people are just tired of the BS, man. People are tired of the BS. So, I mean, any small way I can help, any small way I can provide some kind of solace, some kind of truth that I feel is necessary for people to hear, I'm going to bring it to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bring it to you raw. You may not like my delivery, but it's true from me to you. That rhymes, by the way. Other than that, we got quite a bit to discuss. You know what I'm saying? It's more truth and more of exposing people that are against the truth at the same time. So, where do we begin? Today, just watching a little bit of JERANISM, and you know how I feel some kind of way when it comes to those debates, man. Like real talk, I feel some kind of way with. Yeah, I feel these debates could. So yeah, yeah. So you saw Level Earth Observer too, right? Yeah, he had some good stuff. He Level Earth Observer, man. Hats off to him. If you haven't subbed to him, we call him Leo for short, but it's Level Earth Observer. You know what it is, man? It's raining over here. Over where I'm at, it's raining and it's just bad cloud conditions. So or bad weather conditions, excuse me. And so it's cloudy, it's mad precipitous out here. That's a word that I haven't used all year, by the way. And so that's why we're getting the glitchy effect that you see me glitching up a little bit. But how do I sound? Do I sound good? Sound good? Thumbs up. Yes. I sound better than I did before, right? Remember last week I was sounding crazy as hell. I sounded like I had a bucket on my head. So I know that was a little bit wild. But now that I've tweaked the system a little bit, looking better. I sound good. See, thank you. I appreciate you, bro. Nano CBD, welcome, and thank you for that. Thank you. Um, so lately, what I've been doing is I've been prepping a little bit more before Tuesday shows up, and I've been tweaking this system just so I can get better. I guess you could say better everything, right? Better quality everything. Um, now that I've got much better internet, I'm sure you guys can imagine which internet I got. Not gonna say it, but you can imagine which one I got. Now, the reason I had to get this internet is because of where I live. There's so much canopy. I live on 25 acres, y'all. Okay. And I live in the middle of the sticks, right? And it's canopy everywhere, right? And so the best I could do is what I've got now. That's actually better than the internet service that they were providing me. And no smoke on these guys, but these guys, their service was it wasn't the best. And so the guys that I have now, it's popping. You know what I'm I've actually seen the constellation for that internet provider. I've seen it a few times and it looks absolutely bizarre. And here's one thing that goes through my mind when I see that constellation, right? I see it and I understand that in Genesis chapter 1, verses what? Verse 14 and on, 14 to like 17, it talks about the luminaries in the sky, right? 14 to 17 around there. And it says that God puts those things in the firmament for signs, seasons, days, and years. So essentially, it's a huge clock. And when we have these things flying to and fro outside of the firmament or within the firmament, but it's just messing with God's clock, I feel that it's kind of annoying him and it's pissing him off, along with a slew of other things that we're doing and pleased with that, especially since he's probably got his own version of the internet. So I would imagine he wouldn't be too happy with us messing with his clock, essentially. But that's neither here nor there. Now, what I was talking about actually, I was watching JERANISM's channel and they had a debate between Flatzoid and this guy named Bob Science, Science Bob. I'm going to call him Robert of Science, the Robert of Science, right? And so the Duke of Earl, the Robert of Science, this guy, I'm not going to talk bad about him because he's an older gentleman and I got to respect my elders. You know what I'm saying? I'm old school like that. So I ain't going to talk bad about this dude. But he appeared a little bit arrogant, but I could see why. He figures just listening to this guy speak and seeing how he was carrying himself tonight, I wasn't at all impressed, but I could see why he was doing what he was doing. But without further ado, I'm going to bring you to that Jeranism joint, and then I'll have my thoughts throughout, and you guys could kind of tell me what it is you think. So here it is, the debate, Jeranism. Let's rock.
For the handful in attendance and the thousands watching across the world, brought to you tonight by Jeranism, the #1 YouTube channel in all of existence. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
About capitalism, atheism, globalism. What about creationism? It don't matter what it is. I'm live on debateism.
And welcome everybody to Debateism X episode X8. We've got Bob the Science Guy going against Flatzoid's perspective. I believe the topic will be on Coriolis and flight dynamics. That is the plan, 30 minutes each with the clock, a minute intro to begin. And they each have two buzzers, as you have gotten used to by now. Let's bring them on. Here is Bob and Flatzoid. Welcome, guys. Nice to have you.
All right, so I don't know if you guys have watched this episode today, and I'm going to address that here in a little bit, Nano. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't even know about this, but so it looks like there was a debateism between that guy and that guy. Cool, but which I think is absolutely bizarre, simply because it's like I don't know if the Robert of Science got the memo and saw that there is a flight dynamic out, right? There's that flight dynamic summary that's available to everybody, and it clearly says we don't adhere to Coriolis and we assume a flat Earth. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's continue with the show. I'll address that later on.
That's good to be here. Glad to have appreciated the platform, and it's glad Bob could make it.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Jaren. Always glad to have a chat with somebody.
Good. You can tell everybody real quick who you are, where they can find you, all that fun stuff.
Well, I'm Bob the Science Guy. I'm from Michigan. I am a YouTube creator that's been dealing with science denial and conspiracy theories for about 5 years. I'm a science.
So in other words, somebody's paying you well to lie and bullshit the American people. Roger.
Communicator, and I have channels here on YouTube for Bob the Science Guy, for Shamrock Banks Observatory, my backyard observatory, where I do comet and asteroid research. I also have a slide rule and mathematics channel that deal with my favorite little thing, which is slide rules. And I'm over on TikTok recently under Bob the Science Guy. And over there, I do a lot of science education.
All right. Thank you very much. And we've got Flatzoid. Go ahead and tell them where they can find you and who you are and all that fun stuff.
You know, before we continue, I'm so interested to hear what his views are, Bob Robert of Science, what his views are on the cocoa. You know what I'm saying? I'm so interested to know that, because he's talking about, I'm here to debunk conspiracy theories, the Robert of Science doing this and doing that. I'm so interested to see, or rather to hear, what it is he discussed between 2020 and 2023. Actually to now. I'm so interested, but anyway, let's continue.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm Flatzoid's Perspective, a flat earther, obviously. Been doing YouTube for the last 7 years about. I do have a TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter if you need to look me up. I'm just going to have some fun, and everybody knows me, I like to debate. So it's going to be fun to see what we're going to get up to with what shenanigans and contradictions the globe has to offer for us.
All righty. See who goes first with the intro. We'll go ahead and do a coin toss. Let me get that on there.
I'm going to defer to Flatzoid requested this debate, so I'll be happy to defer to him. He can go ahead and give his spiel at first, but I have 1 hour.
You okay with that, Flatzoid? You want to go first?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, we won't even do a coin toss. All right, Flatzoid's going first. You got a minute to do an intro, and then we'll get started. We'll give his minute, and then we'll get started with the 30-minute clock. So go ahead. When you start your intro, we will start the clock.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't need to share screen though, because it's just based on the intro. Is we're talking about Coriolis, and we're going to be talking about flight dynamics. So the point is, we do not observe any plane deviation to present the
Jimmy Satterfield, what's going on, homie? Good to see you, brother.
presentation that Earth rotates underneath the plane. So we have no Coriolis effect deviation observed. So there is an issue there, and we do not have to account for anything as if curvature when the plane is flying anywhere over the plane. The fact have their gyro set on the runway in a rigid frame reference of horizontal, and when they land they still have that same horizontal no matter where they go. It shows the point that they have never ever flown over a curve or had to account for any movement of the ground beneath them. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. And Bob, same thing. We'll start your minute when you start talking.
Okay, well, I'm an actual trained pilot and fly airplanes, and quite frankly, I know how they work. I also know quite a bit about celestial and ground navigation, and I'm just going to let the facts speak for themselves today.
The fact.
And that's all I have to say.
All right.
This really isn't. This isn't a subject of debate. This is a subject of education.
All right. So I just need to learn. Here's the thing. What Robert needs to understand is we learned the same stuff he did. All right. He could sit over there with his big white mustache and his slide ruler and all that other bullshit. But we learned the same stuff in grammar school. We learned the same stuff in elementary and high school and college. And then going on into the job field, depending on what it is you do, we learned the same effing thing, right? We're here in the true earth for a reason. Doesn't make us stupid. It makes us a little bit more informed than the average bear. So talking about this education thing, what is he going to educate? I'm curious. Let's continue.
Well, thank you so much for that. And both clocks will be set at 30 minutes. Flatzoid, you can begin. You both have 2 buzzers you can use if you want to take control. Otherwise,
I'll go on mute.
okay, thank you. Flatzoid, you can go as long as you need.
Awesome. Yeah. So thanks, Bob. You heard what I had to say in the first minute. Would you be able to, let's maybe first address the curvature part. Why don't you, why aren't we able to observe anything that situates us flying over geometric spheroid?
Why on earth don't you think that curvature is taken into account? How do we navigate over the earth?
What?
With a plane, you
Yep.
navigate over a stationary rigid plane.
Well, that's your claim. However, we actually fly over great circle distances and via great circle courses. There is no such thing as a great circle on a flat plane. That's only found on the surface of a sphere.
So can you show us flying great circle distances in a vertical, please?
What do you mean in a vertical?
Because you need to fly over a sphere, you're flying over a vertical. Your altitude, keeping the same altitude, means that you're going to have to either drop your nose to keep up with that rigid horizontal of the gyro.
So funny.
Or it's just magic and it's not curving.
Nah. No, that's basically 2015 thinking. So if you look at this globe right here and I put this pen on top of it, do you agree that the pen is a certain distance above the surface of the globe right here where it touches? Okay. Does it change? Has it changed anywhere? Still the same distance above the surface. Your altitude doesn't care what the shape of the earth is. You're a certain distance above, we'll use mean sea level as the datum. So level flight means that you're just maintaining the same altitude above the ground, and it certainly doesn't matter what the surface is.
Great. So you do know we fly relative to the ground.
Yep.
With planes. Okay.
Absolutely.
So if we have,
Okay, so before we even continue, here's the thing. Yes. Hey, Ida, how's everything? How you doing? All right. So before we even continue, he does understand. Okay, spoiler alert. The Robert of science understands that the Earth has a set formula for curvature, right? 8 inches per mile squared. Everybody here is familiar with that. This is no secret. He understands that, okay? He understands damn near everything, especially when it comes to this, the flight dynamic, not necessarily the paper, but the flight dynamic. So let's continue. He knows these things.
If we have mean sea level, can you bring the definition up for mean sea level, please?
No.
Why not?
You should come prepared. If you don't know the definition of sea level, I'll give you a moment to Google it.
I can tell you.
Well, then go right ahead and do it.
No part high or other. It is the mean sea level as in 0 horizontal, based from one side or the other, based on the topography. Yeah.
Nobody says anything about horizontal. It's the mean level of the surface.
Literally.
It's the datum of the surface. So, for example, if you have a sphere like this, the surface is all sea level. And the distance above sea level doesn't change no matter where you are, as long as it's the same distance above sea level. So, you know, you can try and claim that that's horizontal to go along with your belief system. However, that's just simply not the case.
Okay. I think this is a little bit strange because it has to change. I mean, there is this ball has a set distance, right? This ball has set parameters. This imaginary ball that we're given, right? Anybody in the chat, anybody, drop in here what the circumference of this, what we're given, the roundabout circumference of this globe. Anybody. I'm pretty sure we're well versed in what the damn distance is. Everybody should know this, especially us. I know we know it. So there is a set distance for this globe. I mean,
is all level because it's the same distance above the ground. And again, by ground, I mean sea level or whatever datum you're using.
Okay, great. So when the plane is on a runway and we get to the plane moving and we're spinning the gyro up, it sets a horizontal reference datum, correct?
Yeah, there's
So when we're on the runway, it's sitting still.
not altitude, attitude indicator. I'm sorry, I think I misspoke.
Yeah, the attitude. And we've set the horizontal datum so we know always where the horizon is in our flight. Great.
Well, we know what horizontal is in our flight, yes.
So do you have the same horizontal on every latitude on a globe?
Yep.
How's that possible? If I'm taking off, let's say, in the North Pole and I fly to the equator, it's not the same horizontal, is it?
The horizontal from your point on the pole versus the horizontal on the point on the equator, they're level. They're not on the same plane. They're 90 degrees to each other.
So not the same horizontal then?
No. Okay, I'll go with that.
Great. So when we have a rigid space datum when we take off, why don't we account for dropping when?
Okay, 40. All right, 40,075 kilometers. All right, guys, in English, 25. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Mr. Jones, peace, my brother. I'm glad to see you. Half Warrior, it's about time. Good Lord. But so, yeah, so basically 25,000 miles in circumference. So that is a set parameter. There is no adding or removing Earth. So when he says you remain level and you see a horizon the whole time, that wouldn't be possible, especially if you're climbing in elevation. But it appears as if the horizon meets us at every altitude that we climb.
When we're flying over your ball.
And the thing is, that wouldn't be the case if this was a defined sphere. That would not be the case if this was a defined sphere.
Where are we dropping?
We supposed to be deviating from that horizontal that we set. It's a rigid plane.
No, we're maintaining a certain level above the ground. Now, there are devices on the attitude indicator called pendulous vanes. And using the pendulous vanes and the vector of gravity, it does keep that so that it's horizontal to the ground.
Actually, it uses INS, which is
that's an INS. That's not an attitude indicator. That's INS.
INS uses for the correction of magnetic.
No,
that's your inertial navigation systems, y'all.
It's not what an INS does. An INS consists of three sets of gyroscopes set at 90 degrees to each other that look at a coordinate system on the Earth. So one way that you can easily look at that is if you take a box, look the box handy real quick, double check. No, I don't see one. Well, here, we'll use this. So here's a box. Now this box has got a coordinate system in it. It's got a height, it's got a width, and it's got a length. So you can set up XYZ coordinates on this box. Take that, put it in the box. You can describe every point on the surface of this in those XYZ coordinate system. And what an INS does is it takes 3 sets of gyros and it keeps it spins up on the ground, and then it keeps track of your position in that three-dimensional space, and then it coordinates that with the surface geode of the Earth.
Basically, what he's saying is it works like, I don't know if you guys recall on Flat Earth Friday when I discussed your vestibular apparatuses, right? You got one on your left cochlea, you got one your right cochlea and your left cochlea. So your vestibular apparatus is in your ears, with your perilymphatic fluid functions the same. Orient yourself, right? Basically keep you upright instead of having that thick ass vein in your forehead because you upside down and you have no idea. So your INSs function basically the same way, except they help you figure out where it is you are in the world, at the same time giving you orientation.
The WSG 84.
It's using the 90 degrees in 3 different axes. Okay, so it's using rigid
Just
space.
like your ear does.
You know your vertical, you know your horizontal, you know your plane. You're flying over a plane. Why
You
is
know
it
your position in
that-
three-dimensional space. It doesn't have
Why-
anything to do with the orientation of the Earth.
why is it that when you're flying, there is no deviation of this rigid plane?
What rigid plane?
The Earth, motherfucker.
The horizontal set on the runway.
No, you're talking about 2 different things. All right, I was talking about an attitude indicator. You're now talking about an INS versus an IRS.
The
Now-
INS is doing the correction based on
No,
The
an INS
perception
is
of
simply
INS.
determining its position in three-dimensional space,
Yes.
and it doesn't really care what the position of the ground is. It just tells you that I'm at this XYZ coordinate. And then the navigation system that is hooked into the INS tells you where that is in reference to the.
All right. So, okay, guys, this guy, I'm sure he's a good father, a good husband, a good brother, all that stuff to the people in his life. The problem that I have with people when it comes to describing things to everyone is they feel they need to be important. They use these big fucking words that mean absolutely nothing in real life. It's like, listen, talk to your audience, right? Talk to the audience as if they're lay people. I'm not saying to put anyone down or to talk down on anybody, but let's be real. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these words just don't. Not to say that people are stupid or anything like that, but the easier the better you can describe something, the easier it will be for people to understand what it is the hell you talking about, and then we could just move on to the point and beyond. I hate when motherfuckers do shit like this. Excuse my language.
The GI.
Okay, so are you going to actually attempt to answer what I asked about?
I did answer what you talked about.
Why is it? No, I'm asking very specific. If
Mhm.
you're taking off, you've got your horizontal set. Okay, let's say we're flying from the North Pole. We've got the horizontal set.
That's fine.
Why is it no matter where you change, you're never dipping your nose down to keep up with the
Half warrior,
curve?
you
'Cause the
crazy.
Why
horizontal
would you
always-
dip your nose down?
By the time you get to the equator, you would
Crazy.
be either being flying vertical or you'd be in space.
Well, that's just basically a total misunderstanding of how aircraft fly. Aircraft fly over the surface of the Earth. They don't care what the shape of the Earth is. They just maintain a set altitude when you're flying straight and level.
Now, that's not true. That, my friends, is absolutely false. Because here's the thing. In that flight dynamic, if it was true that nobody gave a fuck about what the shape of this Earth was, they would never at the top say that we assume that this Earth is flat. And then in parentheses next to that, it says there is zero curvature. Zero curvature. All right. It says it right next to there. So basically, along with the words, it's giving it a numerical value. No curvature. So yes, to a degree, pun intended, it cares as to what the shape of this earth is. It absolutely does. So to say that, as Robert the scientist man, to say that it doesn't care about what the shape of this earth is totally disingenuous, because the people writing this stuff absolutely care about what the shape of this earth is. Let's continue.
Straight and level means you're maintaining the same altitude above in this case means sea level, and you're not deviating to the left or the right. That's a curved path.
Exactly, Mr. Jones. Exactly.
There's no curved path, it's horizontals. How do you have a curved path?
No, it's a curved path.
No,
if you
it's
fly over
horizontal.
the surface of the earth, so for example, again, here's your earth, here's your set distance above the earth. As you go around the earth, you notice that the distance to the top of that pin, the outside of the pin doesn't change. It's just maintaining a set level above the ground. It doesn't really care what the ground looks like.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Doesn't care if there's mountains or canyons or seas or whatever. It just.
No, it does. And there are times where you climb in altitude based on things like, different things like weather, based on time to get to one place or another, right? There are times where you're going to climb in altitude, distance, right? You're not going to stay at one level, but there are going to be times where you climb, right, above the clouds, possibly, and then you're going to travel level. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's absolutely false. But anyway.
Flies at the same altitude relative to mean sea level.
Yeah, you're still not actually answering.
Well, that's the answer you're getting. So
okay.
If you want to try and move on to something else or want to put up something to support your position, I'm happy to look at it.
INS refers to the latitude and longitude and altitude being fed from the IRU, other systems reference, or selected display pilot of the electronic flight. So it's making the corrections based on already set measurements. Correct?
Sorry, Bob, go ahead.
All right, so go ahead and tell me exactly what that's talking about. What is the electronic flight system?
It's talking about the correction based on the precession that the gyros give.
All right, what is the electronic flight system that you highlighted?
IRS.
No, read it. Click on it and read it.
Already gone out of it, but it doesn't matter. The point is you're trying to.
Well, yeah, it does matter because I'm asking you about it. Show me.
You're going again with the point. You set your horizontal datum. It's a rigid plane. It never changes. It stays with that. No, it's not my claim. It stays that rigid plane.
Oh,
it's always staying that rigid plane. Can you show me once in any flight path where that rigid plane has changed, please?
Okay, there are 3 of the gyrus compass, or the gyrus, or the INS gyroscopes. They're set at 90 degrees to each other, just like
right hand rule,
just like your vestibular apparatus in your ear. All that does is maintain a situational awareness of what your position in space is, and then the computer takes that and converts it to your position over the ground. So I don't see what the problem in understanding what that is. All the INS does is give you your 3 coordinates,
which is correcting for the precession. Okay, but again, I'm asking you,
what is precession?
A rigid.
What do you refer to by precession?
Can we finish one of
what you're referring to?
You are overstating from.
Now, this is what really sucks about these debates, right? When you get to points like this, and it seems as if we're going back and forth, there's no real, I guess you could say, nobody really concedes, right? Nobody truly really concedes. And it's like there's a stalemate at every given point of a debate, especially on JERANISM. I love the debates. We go at each other in the comment section live, but at the same time, it's like, all right, what have we gathered? What did we learn from this whole thing other than it's 2 guys going at each other's necks, right? What did we get out of this? Based off of what Bob is saying, like we in the true earth community already know, look, man, it ain't happening. We already know we are given set numbers and it curves, right? You can tell us till the cows come home some other bullshit. You have a circumference. You do. You have a set circumference. You also have planes that fly faster, a lot faster, right? To the tune of like 4 times faster than traditional 747, right? Like the SR-71, right? Or the damn F-14 Tomcat. These things fly significantly quicker than this thing when they're reaching their max speed. So you mean to tell me that with that curvature set at 8 inches per mile squared, these guys putting on their afterburners, right? Especially hugging the ground, or say they put their afterburners on and they're like maybe 500 feet above the deck or above the sea. They're cruising on by. They don't have to curve. They don't have to turn or anything like that. And they don't build these machines to adhere to some kind of curvature. That's not the truth. And that's not the truth. And we know that based off of what he's saying, that's not true, because they already write about it. They already say, assuming that it is a flat and level earth. And they say assuming because they're like, look, these people already got into their minds that we live on a ball. But no, it's not. We're assuming that it's flat and it's level because it is. That's it. Because it is. They're not going to say assuming that it's a triangle because it's not, or they're not going to say, well, all right, assuming that it's a ball but it's flat. No, they're just going to say assume it's flat because it's flat, period.
From the point, Bob, the point still is
Okay.
the gyro sets a rigid plane.
We're going to move past the gyro now.
You know,
We're gonna move on to something
the
else.
instrument pilots out there and the big iron pilots, you know, I'm sure are happy to correct me on this, but I will say that over 18,000 feet in the United States, you fly to pressure altitude, not MSL. So
Yeah, pressure altitude, which is based off MSL. But anyway, again, it keeps the same horizontal. You just
it
told
does
me
not.
you don't dip your nose or you do not change your airspeed to be able to drop to keep up with the curve.
You're not dropping, you're maintaining the same altitude. It doesn't care what the shape of the earth is.
So flat.
So therein lies the problem. It should care about what the shape of the earth is because it is moving at a speed. So anything that you're on or over, if it's curving, you're going to feel that curve. You're going to feel that change. You're going to feel it, especially if you're running quickly or if you're moving quickly. Can you imagine? Just imagine you're running on a hill, right? That has a slight curve to it. You're going to feel it going up. You're going to feel it coming down. You're going to feel it every part of the way, right? Especially if you're somebody like Jesse Owens or Michael Johnson. These guys were track runners back in their heyday, right? If you're running fast, you're going to feel that slight curvature. Now, I know that's a little bit more crude than what an airplane is, and that's a little bit more of a crude definition. But I mean, you have to apply somewhat that same principle when it comes to an airplane, right? You're going to apply these same exact principles. Come on, Robert. Robert, come on, bro.
Flat then, so no curve.
No,
Right.
not flat.
Where's the curve then?
Then where's the curve? Exactly.
It's actually right in front of you at all times. That's why you have horizon.
It's a horizon because it's all right. Let's go to something else. Let's go to something else.
No, in reference to that point on the earth.
I don't.
So
hate
it would now
Robert.
be vertical, correct?
Very good. Very good.
That's nothing wrong with that.
You start off with the North Pole like this. Okay. See, here's the North Pole. Here's my airplane. It's a set height above the ground. When I come over here, that is still level.
Dip the nose.
No, The nose isn't dipping. It doesn't have anything with where anything to do with where the nose is. It simply follows the curve around because this direction is down no matter.
Exactly. It follows the curve around, but it's still adhering to curvature. And it's in a sense dipping, but you know what? You know what? This is if this earth is moving in the manner in which they say that it's moving, and it's curving in a manner in which they say that it curves, then you would experience that kind of curvature. You'd have to. You would have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You would just have to.
Where you are on the globe.
Yeah.
And
And
as
when
a
you're
result of
flying-
that, two things happen. One, this aircraft does not have an INS. This aircraft has an attitude indicator. And the INS knows.
Okay. Do planes have flight logs?
Yes.
Are they able to tell you what altitude you flew, for how long, if what angle of attack you flew?
Yep.
We don't, that's not what's in a flight log. What's in a flight
I'm
log
just
is
saying,
your-
do you have
is your-
logs on? Do you just have logs information?
So basically, what Flatsoid's asking is, does it have a flight computer? Yes. So basically, things like your black box and stuff like that, they house information like that. So anything occurring on the airplane, like any maneuver that it makes, any kind of damage that it might sustain, or something like that, if something goes out, all of this information is recorded within the black box. But yeah, all of this, we have access to all this information, right? It's almost like you can, after the flight, you can play back that data and you could see all the maneuvers and everything that the plane made throughout its course and its journey and everything. You can do that. Yeah, of course there is. I wonder if that's a rhetorical question or not.
Data on
What
a black box.
What we log is our origin and destination airports, the type of aircraft, and our flight hours and the conditions of the flight, whether it's instrument or non-instrument.
Great. And if they have a black box, are they able to know if something goes wrong with the plane?
Yes.
Okay, so would it be able to pick up a change off of that horizontal that was set on the runway?
It'll know exactly where it is in three-dimensional space, yes.
Horizontal.
You seem to not grasp the idea.
I'm still talking, and it never changes. Why would you claim then it does change if you literally just said it doesn't change?
All right. So once again, and this is the last time that I'm going to try and explain this to you because I'm not going to address it again. The INS has a series of 3 planes of reference, 3 gyroscopes. Actually, I think there's 6. But what they do is they tell you the XYZ coordinate of the aircraft, and they compare that to the WSG-84 geoid of the spherical Earth, and it will tell you where you are in reference to the surface of that geoid. And that's that. Simple as that. It doesn't care. It doesn't care where the horizon is. It doesn't care where it started versus where it ended up, where the horizon is. It just gives you the 3-dimensional space. So
do you know what
that's that.
rigid? Do you know what rigid means?
Yes, do you? Spherical Earth.
So it doesn't change then. It keeps that same rigid plane right through from when
and
you
it
take
just
off to
takes
land.
it just takes into account where it is over
boy.
the surface of the spherical Earth.
So there they go. They're like half an hour into this debate, and they're still discussing the INSs, the gyroscopes, and everything else. Now let's see if we can move along and see if we could find another topic that these guys start kind of going at.
An aircraft.
Oh, it's not my claim. I'm not saying it is. You
Well, yeah, it
claim
is because you
okay.
just said You just said you understand that my claim is that an aircraft would move backwards because the Earth was spinning under it. How on earth would that even work?
Okay, let's
That's what we want to know. How does that work on a globe that's supposed to be moving at the equator 1,100 miles an hour? That's what we'd like to know. And at the same time, shooting through space at 67,000 miles an hour. That's all we want to know.
put it this way: if I take a plane and fly 500,
I'll tell you what, you make your claim
You just asked
about
the
what
question.
you think Coriolis is going to do.
I'm still making a statement.
Go ahead.
When you take an airplane and you're flying 500 miles an hour at the equator,
Mhm.
and you're flying opposite to the
Guys,
rotation,
pay
are you
attention
going
to
to be
this, y'all.
flying
Pay attention.
500 minus 500 miles an hour?
From what reference point?
Yeah, it's in
What's
the
the
linear
non-inertial
movement.
reference frame?
The non-inertial reference frame is the deviation. So the movement of
No,
the plane would
what's
be
the
the
non-inertial
non-inertial.
reference
While
frame?
we are on the inertial reference plane would be the movement of Earth, which we see an apparent deviation. So to us, it will be looking like the plane is flying backwards.
Okay, well, first of all, you don't seem to understand the difference between inertial and non-inertial reference frames, and I don't have time to teach you right now. Aircraft fly in reference to the surface of the ground. All right, so an aircraft that is flying at 500 miles an hour is going 500 miles an hour over the ground like this. It's not being, its speed is not being judged from the moon, where you have the Earth's rotation and then you have the airplane flying with it. It's in reference to the ground. So let's start over again from that. So when you have an aircraft that is flying at 500 miles an hour, that's the speed over the ground. It doesn't care if it's going north, south, east, or west. In 1 hour, it will be 500 miles from where it is, from where it started. And the entire system, of course, is rotating because the Earth is rotating, as is demonstrated elsewhere.
Cool. So fighting for not Coriolis then.
Excuse me?
So fighting for not Coriolis. We don't observe it, so therefore not Coriolis.
do
So
observe
therefore
it.
you can't claim. You just said you
We
don't.
most definitely do.
You literally just said you don't observe it.
No, I said that aircraft fly in relationship to the ground.
Okay, I want to show you guys something. We're gonna kick this joint right here. I want to show you guys this right here. All right, because he's saying the airplane flies in relationship to the ground, and you know, my thing is, what about helicopters? But okay, I want to show you guys this right here instead, so he can just make sense. Okay. All right, right here is the ISS on a Far TV live, right? I got that live music, got that music to get you thinking. So I don't know what ocean that is, but it's gigantic. There's no pieces of land nowhere. I don't know if that's the Atlantic or what. There's no land. I can't see no land anywhere. And apparently this is the ISS flying over the Earth. It is at 17,500 miles an hour. This is the ISS. That's the claim. Let's fast forward to see what's popping. They're gonna have you think that the sun is on the other side, of course, but it's still lit up. So you still have this ISS. All right, let's get back to the show. So you still have this ISS that's flying around, have everybody thinking that it's doing these maneuvers that I don't even know. I don't even know if they even discuss the ISS. But this is just absolutely, this is either we do experiments or we don't do anything at all, right? We don't discuss anything at all. But then again, this is Jaren's show. I can't tell him how to do or how to function this stuff. You know, a lot of people give Jaren crap because he did around Beyond the Curve and stuff like that, to where they didn't end it properly. And then they said that, you know, he couldn't see the laser because this or because that. He says interesting. They move and they end the movie right there. They send that production out to Netflix, and people think now that the Earth is a freaking ball, right? Because they had to move a tree out the way so they could find that where that laser terminates, right in their eyes. It's crazy, but I think it's like high time that Jaren, because he's got the resources, right? A lot of people get on his show, a lot of people send money his way, and I'm like I said, I'm not trying to tell him what to do, but now it's like you have to do something like an annual test. Even though we have guys to the like of FE Core and everybody else, you have Irv Robini, something like that, this French. You have these dudes everywhere in Israel and France and Greece, all over the world that are showing their experiments, right? You have amateur folks like me showing our experiments, and then they kind of fall to the wayside. And we're smaller platforms, right? So we're going to need guys like Jaren. We're going to need guys like David Weiss and them to actually go out and be like, hey, this is this guy at this distance. Here I am filming these jokers. Go out here and then you film it, right? And doesn't matter on land, and then you're looking at a ship go beyond in the horizon. And then people now we have to go into the whys, right? Now we have to go into the why did I lose them? And this is where you get to be live and on camera, intellectually honest with yourself, and you get to say, hey, we lost them because it's fucking foggy as hell outside, right? We lost them because our field of view just got small, right? It got small. We lost them because it's hazy outside. There's a wildfire in Canada, so that's why we got all this smoke and we lost them within like 300 feet. So you get to describe these atmospherics and whatever. We say this is why we lost this craft. Or on the flip side, if you still have the craft after how many miles, right? You use your P1000 and then you can say we still have the craft. It is 5 miles. It's 8 miles. It's 10 miles. It's 12, whatever have you, right? Then live you can say this is what we have. This is what people are going to have to see, and they're going to have to see it live, right? These debates are nice, but now we're coming into the season and the summertime to where it's possible to do these things, right? It's possible to get on a boat, a pleasure craft, have somebody sit on land, have somebody sit on another piece of land at another direction, and, you know, kind of use your points of views as isochrones, basically lines of bearing to where this pleasure craft is. And you could say, hey, I see him at 3 miles from this bearing, and I see him at 7 miles at this bearing, right at this piece of land. So I mean, this is the type of things we're going to have to do. I mean, like I said, the debates are great, but we have to freshen things up. We have to make it interesting. We have to make it to where now you can debate live, right? Because here's the thing, we know what this earth is. When you do it live, despite what the results are, even if it turns out, which we know if we lose them because of the atmosphere, we lost them because of the atmosphere. We can prove that, right? But if we don't lose them because of the atmosphere, then we don't lose them because of the atmosphere. We can prove that. Like, these are things we can prove. You can also get in a hot air balloon, right? And yes, I is something, and I'll get into that in a second, right? And this is what I mean by that. Here's what I mean by that. I don't know if you guys saw the video that I made the other day when it came to the rotation of the Earth and the trade winds and everything like that, kind of ripping off which before we end today, but while you guys are in here, make sure to like, make sure to sub, make sure to share, right? The other day we had Flat Earth Recon. He's this brother from that country out in the Eastern Med. You know who it is. I'm not going to say it because I don't feel like getting struck no more. But he's out there, country in the Eastern Med, and he provides the flat Earth based off of the Torah, right? And so what he did was, this is what I'm going to show you right here. Where we at? Right here. I want to show this to y'all. And if you didn't see it, that's okay. Because I'm going to show y'all this. Right? This right here. So Ecclesiastes 1:6, he mentions on a True Earth Tuesday a few weeks ago. We also discussed this on Flat Earth Friday, but it says right here in the ESV, right? The wind blows to the south and goes around to the north. The wind blows to the south and goes around to the north. So right there, it's making it sound like it is doing what? A spiral pattern, right? Around and around goes the wind, and on its circuits, the wind returns. So basically, from its point of origin, it goes to its destination, and from its destination, it comes back to its point of origin. Unless I'm reading something different, maybe you guys can tell me something. The NASB, blowing towards the south, then turning toward the north. The wind continues swirling along, and on its circular courses, the wind, gusting to the south, and turning to the north, to the south, to the north. So basically, if we looked at the earth as a big giant bowl, you're basically along the edge, the inner edge of the bowl. And as you blow along the inner edge of the bowl, what happens to that wind? It follows along the rim of that bowl. The only difference is that the wind follows a course. It follows a circuit. But why does that wind follow the circuit? That's the next question. Why does that wind follow the circuit? So if we were running track, right? Let's say the outermost lane was like lane, let's just give it 5 lanes. Actually 6 lanes. Lane 6, right? Lane 6 is your Tropic of Capricorn, right? The southernmost hemisphere. And lane 1 is your Tropic of damn. So your middle lane would be your equator, right? So out of 7 lanes, your middle lane being your equator, as you run, right? Every lap that you make, you will go from the outermost lane to the next lane inside, right? So your next lane inside, lane 7, lane 6, lane 5, so on, so forth, until you're at lane 1. That's how Ecclesiastes, reads. Now I'm saying all that to say this. What we were getting earlier today, I was getting a lot of people jumping on my case because they were like, you don't know how hurricanes work. You don't understand how winds blow from higher atmospheric. I am Wilson. Be quiet. So the way these dang trade winds function is that here, let me show you. Here are your trade winds, right? Let me show you guys so you guys could see it for yourselves. I'm not BS and I'm not making it up, right? Let me present that to you. Boom, right here. So here are your trade winds, right? So you got that joker in the middle. The one in the middle, actually, the one at the top, excuse me. The one at the top, the yellow joint right here, is looks to be where, actually no, where the yellow and the orange meet is like your equator area, because you could see, because you see where Djibouti is, or Djibouti, excuse me, but where Equatorial Guinea is, and this is our point of reference. Equatorial Guinea in Africa, Ecuador in whatchamacallit. So if you look at how the trade winds go, they stay between here and here, right? 30 north, they don't exceed 30 north, and they don't exceed 30 south. So your Tropic of Cancer and then your Tropic of Capricorn at the south, at the bottom, right? Right here. They don't exceed that. So then what do you get? What a lot of people fail to realize is they think that it doesn't follow any direction. What are you talking? All right. Let's tend to what I Am Wilson is talking about. It doesn't follow any direction. It mostly comes from the ocean to the land because of the heat differential. Yes, there is a heat differential, but what are the things that follow within that 30 north and 30 south? You have two bodies, I Am Wilson. Two bodies. What are they? They follow the same course. They follow the same course, right? 6 months going up and 6 months coming down. They never leave that barrier of 30 north and 30 south. It's kind of like they're in a, like in a, just like in a track, just like as if they were running a track. Because if you come off of that track, you get disqualified. So without being disqualified, the sun and the moon stay within lane 7 to lane 1. They never go inside of lane 1 and they never go outside of lane 7, thus creating your trade winds. And then it follows that you have these storms every year, right? Every year. I'm from New York, right? So we still get hurricanes around where I live. And where I live, hold on, let me show y'all real quick. Where I live, like right here in the East Coast, there go Long Island and stuff, right? Where I live right there in the East Coast in New York, you still get an effect. It may not be the full effect, right? Because right here is the Tropic of Cancer up here. But as the trade winds go this way and the sun whips through the middle of the equator, as soon as it leaves, as soon as the sun reaches Florida right here, for all of us in the northern hemisphere and America, as soon as the sun reaches Florida, which is the Tropic of Cancer, that's around the June time frame, the 20th, the 22nd of June, and then it begins to leave and come down here, right, to around down here, November time frame. We're in hurricane season. What happens during a hurricane season? You get this effect. You get a Coriolis effect to it to some degree, right? So the sun and the moon both whip through here. The sun and the moon, the trade winds stay within 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south. And so as the sun and the moon do their thing, speeding up, doing their 1100 miles, or not 1100 miles, but I think it is, yeah, I think it's roughly like 1100 miles, something like that. 15 degrees per hour, right? All year long. In here, it's causing wind. This is exactly what Ecclesiastes 1-6 is talking about. I thought I discovered something. I didn't. There's nothing new under the sun. These guys said it. So what happens? So when you have the sun and the moon whipping through here all year long, as it whips and it leaves, it gens this up. So this way it turns clockwise. Down here, it turns counterclockwise, right? So basically that's the difference, but that's the difference between the names of the types of extreme storms that you have throughout the year. And if you look throughout the year, when do you get your hurricanes? From around June timeframe, right? June, beginning of June, up until like the end of October. The end of October going into November. And then a couple of things that we also continue to have between those times of year is you have thunderstorms still. Why? Listen, the sun and the moon are still a phenomena to me. They are still a phenomena to me. Doesn't go north of Florida. I didn't say it went north of Florida. What do you mean? So it's perspective. The rise north of New York, if it doesn't. Okay, so the sun, perspective wise, we can still see the sun coming right here. It's not as if the sun is going to be right here, because I am Wilson. Your tropic of Cancer doesn't come above Florida. But you have to understand also, this map, this is not the correct map. This map isn't correct, I am Wilson. So the sun that we see is basically your whatchamacallit is tilted like this. Instead of this and the underneath my thumb being Florida, like there, if as you move further west, because the sun is coming up on a loop like this, because it's coming on a circuit, it is not a ball like this thing shows, right? That's why you see the sun coming the way it does. It does like an arc. And then it comes up underneath Florida during the summertime, for our summertime, and then it continues throughout the bottom part of the US. Just the fact that the sun rises in the east in New York. All right, I am Wilson. This is why you have to look at the other maps. You have to look at your Urbano Monte maps. You have to look at your C.S. Hammond maps, right? You have to look at those things. You have to look at the one that all the flat earth community looks at, the Alex Gleason map, because it is arranged correctly. And if you don't want to believe any of us, I mean, C.S. Hammond is the one that wrote the C.S. Hammond and Son. So I bought this atlas because I know there are people like you out there that think that we're full of shit when all we're just trying to do is look for the truth. There are people out there, I am Wilson, like you, that think we're lying. We have no reason to lie. All we're doing is looking for the truth, homie. All right. Use a correct map and show how it's seen. I'm going to do that. Damn, motherfucker, calm the fuck down. So you asked for a correct map. Here is a correct map. Okay. So you can kiss my black ass with that nonsense. Here is a correct map. Let me show you. Right there. Oh, Jesus Christ. Of course, it's going to blur out. Let me go ahead and let me get rid of that function right there. Let's stop screen. Let me present this to you. And of course, let me get rid of that blur nonsense. Excuse me, y'all. I'm going to get rid of this background. None. Boom. There you go. Boom. There it is. Get this doorknob out the way. So let us go back. Boom. That's wrong. So that's not correct. You see how this is going from west to east, right? Right here, this is the US, right there, and everything. You see how that's going right there? Going towards Africa that way. That's not how everything is arranged. If you look at this, C.S. Hammond's map is correct for the air age. This encyclopedia, excuse me, this atlas, do you see how it's arranged? Right here is Africa. I'm going to get you a digital copy, but I want to show you that people have been writing books about this for ages, my man. Okay. Right here is Africa. And right here is the United States. Let me make sure I'm pointing at the right shit. Yeah, this is America right here. Right here is America. And you see how it's arranged? You see how it's arranged in comparison to Africa? That's because that's how the world is arranged. And they're letting you know, hey, this is the correct map based for flight. This is the map that we use. This isn't a joke. It's not like I'm making anything up or I'm lying. This is the map that they still use to this day. Dang, man. I am Wilson. Look, man, I'm sure you're a good man. You're a good father, a good brother, a husband. You know, you pay for your ice cream when you go get ice cream and stuff like that. But when you be doing bullshit like that, it gets on my motherfucking nerves, man. How many times I gotta show you this shit, man? Shit bothers the hell out of me. So what I'm saying, I am Wilson, is that the sun, it runs its circuit. It runs its circuit during right here. And basically what you're seeing, I am Wilson, is if you see right here is Florida. And like clockwork, right beneath Florida is your Tropic of Cancer. Now, I know I'm not doing any justice by showing y'all this map. I'm about to show y'all the dang real deal map here on my laptop, okay? I'm not going to leave y'all behind, all right? Show y'all these jokers right here. Okay. This is an Urbano Monte map. Well, you know, I'm gonna do it old school. I'm gonna give you this Urbano Monte map, okay, from 1587. All right. Why is Australia twice the size as that on a map? Listen, man. I am Wilson. Look, man. I am Wilson. I didn't draw the motherfucker. Ask CS. Why don't you go to that dude's grave, put a couple of plugs in him, revive him, and ask him. I didn't make the map, dude. I did not create the map, okay? Damn. You be wilding out with somebody. You be lunching, like for real, man. You be lunching on some of these damn things, man, for real. Okay, so here's Urbano Montes. The reason I'm showing you this map is because it goes to show you that even in the 16th century, people knew this world was arranged. You know what I'm saying? There go Africa right here, right? And just like I said, here goes the North American continent. There goes South America right here. So just like I mentioned, this between here, because there goes Florida, right? You got Cuba and Haiti, right? This right here is your Tropic of Cancer, right here, right there. And so the sun is not going to break this barrier. Now, what I'm saying is that New York isn't going to, you're never going to have the sun fly overhead New York like that. Perspective wise, it may look like that because the sun is still bright and it's the greater light, right? As per what the Bible says, it is the greater light. So as it makes its course up here on the 22nd, 21st of June, riding along the Tropic of Cancer, we have our longer days because up here, hell, dudes are starting to get some kind of twilight, daylight. Everybody north of here still gets daylight to some degree, right? Because the sun is just that damn powerful. Either way, your trade winds happen in here. They happen between the Tropic of Capricorn down here and your Tropic of Cancer up here. And as the sun corkscrews within here, it spirals down for 6 months and then it spirals back up for 6 months, making a full year. Half a year, it goes from here. Equator is March and September time frame, December. March, September, June. The only times the things do that, but while it's cutting through here, it generates wind. That's the crazy part, I am Wilson. That's what I find absolutely fascinating is how the sun generate these powerful winds, I don't know where we left off at, but I am Wilson. We don't get storms in the wintertime up in New York. We don't. We don't. So what I'm showing you with that map, let me go back to it one more time. And I am Wilson. I'm not trying to pick on you or nothing like that, man, but that shit be getting on my nerves, man. Real talk. It do. It do, man. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Let me go back to that dang screen. Go back to that craziness. Where's that dang thing? Ugh, Jesus Christ. I'm going to go back to it, y'all. Let me open up. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the map that you guys are more familiar with because it's easier to read. We're going to go to the Gleason's map, okay? I'm going to get rid of that joker right there. I'm going to open up the Gleason's map. And I'm going to bring y'all to the Gleason's map. Just to make everybody's life easier, okay? And here's the thing, like Jimmy Satterfield, I honestly couldn't tell you why those tides are being created. However, I could tell you this much: that is salt water. Where the tides are well, not the tides because it happens in fresh water too, but a lot of your big waves and everything else like that, your current running, a lot of that is salt water, and I find it like amazing that they call it current, kind of like electric current. It runs and it gets powerful, and it sits back in some places as potential, and then it runs like current in others. You know what I'm saying? Let me get back to this right here. Okay. So here we go. This is one that's a little bit more digestible. It's a lot more clear. Let me rotate this joker right there. Okay. So here we go. So we're using North America right here as our reference point. There it is right here. So right here is your Tropic of Cancer right here. Right here, this line right here. Here's your equator. Here is your Tropic of Capricorn right here. Now, the sun isn't going to go out not going over New York, but the reason we have sunlight because it's so damn close during the summertime, and we have it for such a long time because it's so damn close. And then it continues up here. And then if you notice, like I mentioned earlier, I am Wilson, guys in the more northern countries, excuse me, they're going to have a greater bit of sunlight during the summertime the summertime seasons. For much of that time. And so while the sun is running its circuit, hopefully I'm not doing double talk and repeating myself, but since this is a clearer map, maybe you guys can understand. As it runs, it does an effect where when it runs, because even though the sun may seem distant, it's still moving fast. 11, I don't know what speed, but 15 degrees per hour as it moves, and the moon trails behind it. It does like a whipping effect. So if you can imagine you taking your hand, right, and you pulling it at a constant speed through a still body of water, we can imagine that whether it's the air that we breathe or the seawater, that still body of water, as you move the sun through it. What do you mean? You know what? I'm gonna keep talking. You can kiss my ass with you got no answer. All right. As you move your hand through that still body of water, what happens? You pull the water, and then above where your hand is and below where your hand is, you get like a corkscrewing effect, right? You get a clockwise and you get a counterclockwise at the top, and then you get a clockwise at the bottom. It's not because of the tilt. I am Wilson. Like, listen, the earth isn't moving. It's not moving. The sky is moving. The sky is moving. The clock is moving. Like the sun and the moon, those are moving. The earth is still. It's founded. It is not going anywhere. It is still. It is as still as a statue. It is that. It is not going anywhere. And that's the thing. We can't prove that the earth is moving because it's not moving. It just isn't moving. There was a guy by the name of, and I'm going to get to the next video, y'all. I apologize. But there was a guy by the name of good night. His name was Elias, Maurice Elias, right? Maurice Elias followed up in 1954 and ran a couple of experiments with the Foucault's pendulum, right? He made his own version of a Foucault pendulum. Now, the difference was instead of just using it on a normal day, he ran his experiment of running his Foucault pendulum during the times of an eclipse. And what he found was that the eclipse made his pendulum function weird and go in crazy directions, as opposed to other days where he ran. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't want to mix with Maurice Elias's experiment because the motherfucker was an economist. Matter of fact, he won some like big economy award back in like 1985, like 1990 or something like that, right? Maurice or Elias. And then he did that in 1955, I think, 1954, 1955, something like that. He did it again after NASA was founded. He did it again in 1959, right? He ran the same exact experiment. I don't know if he was in a different place. My thing is this. Of course, you have to be in a more controlled environment. You got to make sure the heat is right, the temperature's right, the wind ain't blowing. All those factors definitely come into play. Right? So, one thing we learned from that experiment and from the other experiments with the Foucault pendulum is one thing I learned from that is that you really can't rely on a Foucault's pendulum, right? That's one. Two, this thing is going to give you some crazy, crazy results based off of what the atmosphere is doing, right? Three, that doesn't necessarily mean that the earth is moving. You can't say that because you still have a building or you still have a structure that is attached to this earth, regardless of whether that's a universal joint cutting freaking lines into the sand. You know what I'm saying? But I am Wilson. Seriously, I hope you understood where I was coming from with this map and how the sun and the moon function based off of what was written in Ecclesiastes 1 through 6. Remember that, y'all. Ecclesiastes chapters 1 through 6. Make sure you put that in your flat earth Bibles. Make sure you keep note of this, right? That's a very, very important. Right. And so as the sun moves based off of what the season is, you're going to get storms in the northern hemisphere that you're not going to get really in the southern hemisphere like that, right? You're going to get storms even in the middle of where the sun messes around in between 30 north and 30 south, so at the equator. So sometimes when we get hurricanes, guys in Hawaii will still get hurricanes. But guys in the South are not going to really get storms like that, right? But guys along the equator to guys in the North, they are going to get storms. But then as soon as December rolls around, guess who don't get storms? Guys in the North. We don't get storms like that no more because we're away from where the sun and the moon is running at. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, this is like a fourth time I'm going to say it. Please, y'all, forgive me. By the way, as you guys come in, make sure to share, make sure to subscribe. I love you guys. Make sure to like, share, sub, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, right? Every flat earth proof has been debunked long ago. No, it hasn't. I am Wilson. It hasn't. But as the sun makes its way throughout the circuit, it just does what it does. It causes these storms. It causes the winds. It causes the leftover wind as the sun whips and runs and whips and runs and runs its race throughout the year. So yeah, I am Wilson. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you, homie. I don't think you need to believe. You don't need to believe it, but the globe has been disproven and debunked. Like we're done with the globe. We're actually done with the globe. I am Wilson. This is an actual atlas. This is like the. I don't think they do. I haven't seen one around. There's no reason for us to have paper atlases, really, but it's always good to have the old stuff around. I'm telling you, highly recommend it. But you might think that they're flat earthers or they're lying or something like that, but whatever. What you got? I don't know what the earth is. Yeah, neither do I. All I know is mainstream BS. It's been a lie. Everything has been a lie, right? And guess what? You can see far without the physical curve. And I get it. Shit refracts miles and blah. Exactly. Right. So we do. I am Wilson. Here's another thing, man. You got to understand is we do understand. Let me get this thing off the screen. We do understand that there is refraction. We're not denying that, right? Everything we know, and then some, right? But we just did a little bit more digging. That's the difference. That's the big difference. We did a lot more digging, right? Sorry, but the moon orbits the Earth in the same direction the Earth rotates. It doesn't have a circular path trying to get away from the sun. Nobody said that the moon was trying to get away from the sun. But the thing is, we learned the same stuff you did. We just went a step or 10 further with it. And we're coming up with new information every single day. I didn't just learn this, right? I had to dig for it. Just like Shannon has to dig for it. Half Warrior, Jimmy Satterfield, everybody, Nano, right? All these guys have to dig for this information. We're not just going to take what the mainstream says as gospel because obviously they can't be trusted. If they could be trusted, we wouldn't have had this nonsense that we had from 2020 to now. Matter of fact, let me talk about that real quick. You still have these people, right, that are of the globe. You know we're being toyed with. You know that our minds are being messed with. You had this global craziness happen, right? And for whatever reason, you guys just can't get it through to your minds that these people are not on your side. They are not here to help you. They are not here to tell you the truth at all, right? So basically, you have to figure out what the truth is for yourself. So that means you're going to have to do the heavy lifting. That means you're going to have to do extra homework. Cumbersome. But you're going to have to do it anyway if you want the truth. Forgive me, y'all, for that craziness happening. It stopped raining, so the chasing each other. Yeah, it's like they're going in a circuit. That's because Wilson, the sun and the moon are local. Like, if you don't understand that, like, you really need to study. You have to study. Here's the thing. We've studied your lie all our lives. Do you think proves that the earth is flat? Like, when I am Wilson, there are 1,000 that prove that this place is not a ball. That much I know. Half Warrior, peace out, brother. Love you. Be safe. Praying for you, my man. Yeah, I am Wilson. Listen, we already know that this realm is not what they say that it is. So here's the thing. We're going to jump into this video with Flat Earth Banjo. All right. We're going to see what's cracking over here. And I think this is a very, very telling one. I am Wilson. I want you to pay attention. And it's all right. It's all right. As Shannon, hey, listen, it's okay. It's okay. That dude spamming the chat with globe talking points is, but I feel you. I am Wilson. He's got to learn. I think he really sincerely believes that this realm is a ball, but it's okay. He'll learn. And as he learns, there will be other people out there that learn as well, which is fine. I'm cool with it. I feel you. But we're going to go to this one right here. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this was a really good one and a very important one. So let me stop flapping my gums because I'm doing enough of that today. And let me just present to you what it is. Share that screen. Here it is.
Guys, I'm new.
This has been Go ahead.
Pretty good. So
Good. No, I was just I was listening for about like 15 minutes or so, I would say. And we were just talking about a little bit about like aerospace engineering a little bit.
mm-hmm.
So I have like a basic idea of how that goes. But I don't know. I've read some of the documents when it comes to how, whether you call it a space agency or how they, I understand like a little bit of the engineering side, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, ask Marco what he learned. Did he learn to fly over a globe or a flat stationary Earth?
The way that I read the documents, kind of stuff, and we do butt heads a bit. But here's the problem that I see, in terms of if you actually read the documents for yourself, though, it says these calculations, this is almost verbatim.
And shout out to Flat Earth Banjo, y'all. Shout out to Flat Earth Banjo. Make sure you sub, like, and share his content as well. Good guy, good content.
Okay, because I'm a notary. I've been in real estate. I read legal, contractual documents. Okay, and the way the verbiage is, I mean, it sounds confusing, but when you talk about how to build, okay, so we're talking about engineering and building something. When you sit there and you read the documents about how craft is constructed, okay, look at the blueprints. This is building an airplane, okay, aerospace engineering, aero, just study the words. It's very simple. Is based on a non-rotating flat Earth.
Yes.
Okay. Why is that right in there, though? That's my question.
Exactly.
Because I'm into that kind of stuff. I'm kind of a geek, I guess you could say. I read into that kind of stuff. Why would they say flat, non-rotating Earth? You have to imagine then when you're engineering something, first engineer it. You also have to understand that when you build your spacecraft, or what you would consider quote unquote a spacecraft.
I am Wilson. Nobody could see a new moon. During new moon time, nobody on the face of this earth will see anything. You won't see nothing. You won't see nothing at all. There is no moon out. That's the only time you'll see something, was when a little light appears. But nobody on this planet will see any moon during a new moon. Nobody will.
You would have to take in air, propulsion, all these different things. So when we talk about a general airplane, and we talk about it being nose up at 3 degrees, okay, so we're talking about a slight tilt, okay, that means that you are traveling if you understand basic aerospace, you know what I'm saying, engineering and the way that the wind works and stuff like that. Yeah, about a 3 degree tilt, nose up, right? Which is how you see every single plane.
Yeah, to create
This
lift.
is
Yeah.
witnessing. This is witnessing. Every single person sees a plane, knows up. Okay. The calculations for me don't add up when people want to say, well, but we're going downward. How?
Here we go.
Well, you're not. It's a flat Earth, you know. That's why they say that's why it's called an aeroplane, because you're flying in the air over a flat plane. It's literally in the word. And it's just like you described it there. You know, when you look into the NASA documents on flight, it literally tells you that it's a flat, non-moving plane. So I don't get the argument either.
What's up, flat earthers? How's it going? Not much, man. Is this all about flat earth or what?
So let me ask you a question. When that aircraft is traveling above the altitude that it has to not crash into something or not become obliterated, you know, like above the sea or something like that, you see these aircraft that are traveling at the speed of sound. You know, they break the sound barrier, they do all this kind of stuff to the point where you can't even see them. Let me ask you a question. Where is the account for curvature being put in that aircraft?
When you're talking about the aircraft you're speaking about going really, really fast over the sea, and it looks like they're not taking into consideration curvature. They are, because as the distance, if they weren't taking into consideration the pressure altitude, as the Earth curves away, they're going to start climbing. Their distance between the surface of the Earth will indicate a climb. Okay. So as the Earth falls away, if they are, you know, if they're maintaining their speed and their altitude, their heading, their attitude and everything else, and they've got a slightly nose up altitude, like what Angel was saying, why don't you have to dip the nose? If they're maintaining altitude, if you look at it from a long distance away, the aircraft is going to be curving around.
Oh my God.
No, the only way that you can.
All right, I had to pause that, y'all, because I just kind of glitched. All right, here we go. Let's continue.
For any kind of curvature.
No, so
you're trying to tell me. Okay.
Here we go, y'all. I don't know if I lost y'all, but here we go. Let's go back to Flat Earth Banjo. I apologize for that. It's raining out here. If it ain't one thing, it's another. You get good internet, now you start getting the inclement weather, and then you get bad internet again. So but forgive me, y'all. Mea culpa. Let me share that screen one more time. Boom. Bam.
space engineered. That's the only place you can do it. You're trying to say, hold on, let me talk. You're trying to say that in every
is taken into consideration by the pressure altitude on the altimeter of the aircraft. Your point is moot, Rissy, because
Seattleites, which is it? Which is the one?
Hey.
How is it that you can travel the high speeds just over the water? Why?
My question was, I spent time in the artillery. If we don't account for Coriolis, we miss. And as far as sonic booms over land, they happen. I've seen them firsthand in Iraq. They're right. You don't normally do sonic booms over land because structures, it'll damage structures. It's a true story. But as far as what I was saying is, I spent time in the artillery. We have to for Coriolis, the rotation.
I'm back.
If not,
question. Can you explain what calculation you had to do specifically by yourself?
Good question.
In order to understand the calculation in terms of your artillery? Can you explain it?
you mean, do you want me to teach you artillery gunnery? I mean, I can do that.
No, not at all. I'm just saying.
Well, it's called the big three, number three. There's a lot of computation besides Coriolis, but if you don't add in Coriolis, you miss. You have
so
to
for you personally, what did you do?
Artillery, gunnery.
Okay.
Period.
So, okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. So what is the calculation? What is it that you specifically have to do?
Answer my question.
Hold on.
I'm not doing this. I asked you a question. I asked you a question. Oh.
No, we are having a conversation.
No.
Here it is.
What branch were you in, bud? You claimed you were in military. There is a Coriolis effect. What did you have to do specifically to account for the Coriolis effect in your specific job? Please tell us what you did specifically.
Here it is.
So I took a big piece of metal and put it into a cannon. And then we walk over to our FDO, or actually radios in, with the information. And then we have a battle data computer. And we look at that computer with all the information. And if any pieces of those information is not accurate or correct, we miss. And if we don't have certain pieces of information, we miss. One of the most important ones being Coriolis. It has its own little box. Literally says Coriolis.
Do you have any documentation from the military that they use Coriolis?
Yes, you can look up the U.S. You can look up the U.S. Army's Field Artillery Training Manual. It's available online.
DJ,
you're full of fucking shit. Hey, you're full of shit, dude. You're lying your ass.
I'm full of shit.
I was in the Marines. I've never heard of Coriolis and artillery the whole time.
Coriolis can be easily verified.
You're straight up fucking liar.
Dude, it's in the manual. I don't care if you're a Marine. If you're a Marine, you're a terrible Marine. Okay, then, hey, Mr. Marine. Hey, Mr. Marine. Where do the artillery? Marines and artillery train at? Hey, dipshit. Hey, dipshit. Where do your Marines train at for artillery, dipshit? Where do your Marines train at for artillery, dipshit?
Let me see your
Coriolis.
Show the picture of your Coriolis.
Guys, one at a time, please. One at a time.
Where's your artillery train?
Show your Coriolis spot.
Dipshit.
Show the picture of your Coriolis spots.
Google the manual.
Show the picture of your Coriolis spots, buddy.
That's
the first I've ever heard of that. Show the picture of that.
You never heard of
Look up hurricane directions.
Yeah, so that's the risky part. That's what's risky when you start making claims like that. Yeah, exactly. Is amount of Coriolis accounted for is 0. When you start coming out, you start making these claims like, oh, I did this, I did that. Like you gotta like prove it to a degree. It's hard when I'm talking about when I was on submarines, I did this and I did that. Like they're like, prove it. I'm like, well, I can't prove it. You know what I'm saying? I can't even get access to a submarine. I'm so landlocked. Excuse me. So it's not like I could come and I could do this. This is why I made a video where I spoke to one of my buddies that was a sub guy for like 28 years. He did it. I was a sub guy only for like less than 5 years. That's how long I did submarines. But I still had to look down the pipe of a periscope. He got to do it, right? We got to both experience this, and I got his testimony. It's in the video, right? And this guy could see ships for over 11, close to 15 miles, right? And so I could see much of the same. But he did it for a lot longer than I ever did. On which direction? You mean it? Yeah, it depends on which direction you're firing. So, you know, I am Wilson. When it comes, here's the thing, I am Wilson. I want you guys and everybody to listen to this. Do you guys think that the battles that took place in the Pacific Theater during World War II, shooting shells back and forth, do you think that these guys were thinking about the Coriolis effect? Like, really, I want you to think hard about this because I've got an answer for you. Do you think these guys were thinking about the Coriolis effect? All right. I'm not saying that these people were primitive. So you had all of these ship-to-ship battles, submarine battles, popping up from behind the curve and surprising you. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to hear about a ship coming from behind the curve and just coming up on you. No, right? So these guys didn't, and you have to think, a lot of these battles took place in the Pacific Theater. Guess where? Right on top of the equator, or damn near close to the equator. These guys were within that boundary to where the Earth supposedly spins at 1,100 miles an hour, right? Because don't they say, well, the Earth is turning at 1,100 miles an hour or close to it at the equator? Well, where do you think those battles took place? So you think all these surface combatants were doing all this firing, and all they're thinking is, oh, damn, I missed. It must be the curvature of the Earth. Let me point it this way so that by the time it hits the shell hits the boat, I have a good thing because it's, you know, the Earth is turning. Not a one of them thought about that shit. Not one of them. None of that is happening. I can tell you that right now. None of those ship commanders were thinking about that. And none of those sub commanders were thinking about, oh, well, the Earth is spinning, so let me shoot like this. Because no, if the boat is traveling like this, they're going to shoot so that they have a firing solution, right? And I don't know much about surface ships in that regard, but I do know that on submarines in this regard, they come up with a trajectory to where it's kind of like you're a quarterback, you're throwing a pass to a receiver running at a particular speed. The better quarterbacks have that dead-on accuracy, and they have a good firing solution, basically like a submarine, right, to when they're going to connect with that receiver, i.e. the surface ship traveling on the surface of the water. Submarines do that same thing. I would imagine that surface combatants would function the same way, right? They have some kind of firing solution, and none of that takes into account the Coriolis effect. Man, you're crazy. And yes, it's line of sight. Yes. Let's continue. You're crazy.
Coriolis box, let's see.
The northern hemisphere.
You're the one
Flat can't look up a fucking manual.
You mentioned the Coriolis box. Show your picture of your fucking Coriolis box. Well, you mentioned it. You pull it up.
You got to do your research.
So the flat tard can't look up a manual, right? Flat tard can't look up a manual.
Shut DJ
Show
down.
your picture.
You know your Marines trained at Fort Sill, right?
One fact that only works on
I
flat
didn't
earth.
train at Fort Sill, jackass. You never heard of fucking Coriolis, you're a fucking lying scumbag.
Your proof, DJ.
Okay.
Okay. Do your calculation.
You can look it up.
Turn your camera on, DJ. DJ, turn your camera on. Do your calculation, DJ.
Shut up, Dick.
DJ, let's see your calculation. Where's your Coriolis
spots? Why for you clowns to Google? Just Google the U.S. Army Training Manual Coriolis.
Oh, the lies
All
we're
right.
told
Now,
and believe because we fail to recognize.
all right. As you're in here, I drug you through all that because I really want you to pay attention to this guy right here, right? This is one of the more important parts of this video. I've been tracking this video down for a long time. I couldn't find it. I found it in this one. It's like gold to me, right? It's like gold to me. So I want y'all to pay attention.
Them by using our own logic and critical thinking. I'm a retired Navy SEAL, sniper, scout sniper, and scout sniper instructor. I fancied myself at a time as being one of the best snipers in the world, certainly one of the best scouts, which include shooting, but also skillcraft. Some others would agree. The Coriolis effect is bullshit. The theory is that with the Earth spinning on its axis,
Lord have mercy.
Westerly or easterly direction. When the bullet would reach the target, the target would either have risen or true.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Here we go. So here we
would
go.
have to compensate at varying degrees, whether shooting between north to north. Never once did I compensate for the Coriolis effect. And we were driving nails, or at least hitting a man-sized target in the kill zone at 1,800 yards consistently every time. Along with other lies told about our universe and the nature of it, the Coriolis effect is total BS. Certainly, a bullet drops when at distance dramatically because the velocity is decreasing. But as far as the spin of the Earth goes, no effect.
Well, he brought it up. Why should?
Well, there you go. There you go. You need the best shooter out there. You need the best shooter out there to tell you what the truth is. So then after somebody like that, right? This is somebody he's got bodies under his name. He's got bodies. So yes, snipers do know. And he has to do the heavy lifting. He has to go out there. He has to be in the field and suffer the climate and the insects and the animals, and just having the patience of a saint just to do his job. And so you'd think he'd have an idea as to the Coriolis effect that they have to apply to his job. And he's like, you don't apply it at all. That's bullshit. I bet these guys, like, especially them having to sit out in that environment, whatever that environment is, and have to wait for their target to appear so they have the best and optimal time to take him or her or it out. You think they would know the best. So yes, they do. So why don't you listen to these kinds of people? There's no reason for him to show his face in public and lie. He has no reason to lie. Is that many of us come out and we say what we say, and we're taking, you don't understand the risk that we take when we go against the grain. Just telling the truth. Just telling the truth. Just telling the truth. You got to understand, man, just telling the truth, and this is what you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? When you tell the truth, you shame the devil. And when you shame the devil, you suffer certain consequences. A lot of that is ridicule, and then a lot of that is loss of monetary gain. But we have nothing to hide. There's no reason for us to come out and speak this truth. And there you go. You have a Navy SEAL telling you. So you mean to tell me a Navy SEAL don't know better when it comes to the Coriolis effect, that it has no effect on how he shoots his gun? Exactly. Why a bullet, but not a plane or a helicopter or a super fast plane for that matter? Let's go back to this video. Go to that one. Let me highlight that. The written by Rick Telander, and it tells of a Navy sniper, Scott Tyler. Yeah, no shit, Mr. Jones. Okay, let's see. The Way of the Sniper. Okay, that's nice. But you have a sniper. This is what I'm talking about. I Am Wilson. This is what I'm talking about. You have a sniper right there, a Navy SEAL sniper, the best in the world, one of the best in the world, coming out and telling you. But you have a sniper coming out and telling you right there. It's bullshit. It's a lie. It is a lie. It is a lie. It's a lie. It doesn't take, no. It's all bullshit. Okay. How about this? Sure, they could put it in the manuals. Sure, they could put it in the manuals. But is it applicable? It doesn't apply because it doesn't apply because it does not apply. It's not real. It's not a real thing that they take into account to get the job done. If they were to take that Coriolis effect into account, they would miss the target every single time. They would miss it every single time, or they might hit something totally else. Let me see what his name is. Let's go back to him. And here's the thing, I Am Wilson. You don't make a claim like that and just get away with it, because they'll track you down and they'll probably do some harm to you, them Navy SEALs. So you don't just come out and say, yeah, I was a Navy SEAL. It doesn't work like
Wants
that.
to Google. Just Google the U.S. Army Training Manual Coriolis.
Oh, the lies we are told and believe because we fail to recognize them by using our own logic and critical thinking. I'm a retired Navy SEAL, sniper, scout sniper, and scout sniper instructor. I fancied myself at a time as being one of the best.
His name is Adam Newbold. Adam Newbold. Adam Newbold. Are you sure flat earthers have fake pilots and shit? No, nobody. No, his name is Adam Newbold. Newbold. Newbold, right? Like a new bowl, but a D at the end, an OW. No, there's no fake pilots or nothing like that. You have real pilots coming out and saying that the earth is flat. I Am Wilson. Don't be ridiculous, man. Come on. What's with you?
Snipers in the world. Certainly one of the best scout snipers in the world,
There goes
which
his name right there.
includes more than shooting, but also skillcraft. Some others would agree. The Coriolis effect is bullshit. The theory is that with the Earth spinning on its axis, on a mission, if that were true, I would have to compensate at varying degrees, whether shooting between north and south, or correction, north and east, east and south, south and west, or west to north. Never once did I compensate for the target in the kill zone at 1,800 yards consistently every time.
1,800 yards is over a mile. I think what? A mile is 1,760 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody could look that up and correct me on that. But 1,760 yards is 1 mile. 1,600 meters or 1,500 meters, I guess you could say, 1 mile, right? And so 5,280 feet, 1 mile. Everything 1 mile. So this guy is striking things at a mile, and he is not taking into account Coriolis. And these bullets, I don't know if they're moving as fast as a SR-71, but a SR-71 is topping things out at like 2,300 miles an hour, right? This is not a slow plane. And that's the unclassified speed. So we don't know what it's Of course, that internet. So here it is, I am Wilson. Here's the thing. So if a plane is moving that fast, it's not going to curve. If it curves, if a plane is moving at close to 3,000 miles an hour, say the unclassified speed of the SR-71 was like 3,400 miles an hour. If that thing even it wanted to nose down just a little, it wouldn't make it. It would tumble, and that thing would be torn to pieces. There's no way in hell it's not going to make it. It's not going to make it. And no, flat earthers don't have fake pilots. That doesn't make any sense. There he is, Adam Newbold. So yeah, like I said, you would be well known, I would imagine. Anyway, that's Adam Newbold right there. Let me get that off, and there he is, speaking the truth. If you don't agree with him, why don't you tell him? And you could tell him to his face, and then he could disagree with you to your face if you don't agree with him. Adam Newbold, everybody, Navy SEAL, right? And these guys have a hard enough job. I don't know, getting in his face and telling him that he's lying is a good idea. I wouldn't do it, right? I wouldn't do it. So I highly recommend you don't do it, or else he'll find you and he'll, I don't know, set your cats on fire, something like that. I don't know. I hope he doesn't. But no. These people are out there. They're doing the do. They know better than any one of us that either have done it, haven't done it. Now, it looks like you've got these hot debates coming up, right? Coming down the pike. So we have JERANISM. Apparently, he's going to be facing. You guys know? Do you guys know? Does anybody know? Allegedly, Professor Dave. So he's supposed to be facing Professor Dave, that obnoxious guy that claims that he gets his information from these scientists and he doesn't know what he's talking about exactly. He just regurgitates the talking points and everything else. So apparently he's going to be facing up against Professor Dave in this debate on the middle of next month, June 15th. It's going to be something. It's going to be something. So I would imagine Professor Dave is going to come out and like just go for the knees the whole time and just talk bad about him and say that flat earthers are idiots and stuff. Kind of like what he did with Flat Earth Dave or David Weiss. We're familiar with his tactics. We're familiar with the tactics of a lot of them folks. And so whatever, we press on. Basically, we just hit him with the truth. That's it. Can you do this? No. Can you do that? No. Well, here's our evidence. Boom. And just keep it moving. At the end of the day, that's all it is. It's what you can prove, what you can't prove. Is dead. I can't ask him anything. Okay. Okay. Adam Newbold is dead. Well, I guess that guy right there is dead. I don't know. Well, there you You could have other snipers come out and tell you that are going to tell you the truth, that they don't take any Coriolis into account. They may take wind into account. Now, wind is one thing. If it's windy out, yes, they'll take wind into account. They'll adjust for wind. But Coriolis, like curvature or turn of the, with the earth, the planet. No, man, ain't nobody doing that bullshit, man. Come on, man. And you got to imagine, man, you got these dudes out here in South America, right? A lot of these South American countries are along the equator, right? Let's say they were in South America. I'm not saying that they are in South America doing that, but let's say they were closer to the equator, right? Doing a lot of this crazy work, shooting these crazy distances. So doing this stuff at a Earth that's rotating at a blistering speed of 1,100 miles an hour. So the bullet traveling at like 1,700 miles an hour has to counter that 1,100 mile an hour rotation of the Earth. Do you know how bizarre that sounds? Like, seriously, just think about that. Think about the regions a lot of these people operate, right? And now they have to take into account that 1,100-mile-an-hour rotation of the equator, or of where they are geographically. That doesn't make no sense. Or it makes sense if that were the truth. But since it's not the truth, and then you're trying to apply a lie to something that doesn't exist at all, you got to think. You got to think. You're applying something that doesn't exist at all to reality. This is why we're looking at you sideways. You know what I'm saying? Not just you, I am Wilson, but you and people like you, right? We're looking at y'all like y'all are crazy because it's like a pretend friend that you have. Every picture, none show him holding a sniper rifle, but his Navy officer articles say he was a SEAL. Okay. All right. That's a big deal when you come saying you're a SEAL. That's a very big deal. Long range shooting record broken. Exactly. Yeah. Not too long ago. Yeah. That's right. That was broken. There was a record that was broken not too long ago. There it is. Yeah. Someone did ask them and they said no. That's exactly what it was. No, she's right. All right, look, I am Wilson. You're gonna have to look for that, bro. We do everything for you guys. We do everything for you. You see all this heavy lifting that we had to do, you're gonna have to do it too. If you think it's that much bullshit, you go dig that shit up. Just like you Adam Newbold, you go dig that up and you go look for that. You go look for that. Where they just shot this and they just said there was no Coriolis. I remember watching that episode. Yes, I remember watching that. This is like a year, maybe 2 years ago or something like that, where they just broke this distance record for shooting. I don't know. But family, make sure while you're coming in here, like, share, sub. I really appreciate y'all coming out. We're 2 hours heavy. It is midnight. It's Wednesday already. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, man. We here. I had my coffee. It's sludge now. So nice little V cup. V for victory. V for veritas. Veridad. Truth. Right? There it is. JERANISM show about online. He has all this situation there. Look it up. Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure on David Weiss's back, I'll find it. I'll make a video on it and we'll kind of talk about it. But yeah, y'all. That Coriolis thing, man. Yeah. It ain't nothing. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Now, as far as the winds, the prevailing winds, yeah, those are there. We can calculate those. We got a concentration of wind and we know where it's at, right? We feel the trade winds when you're out in Hawaii, and Hawaii's right there in the damn near on the equator. We feel those trade winds, right? I listened to the interview, and Shannon says, I listened to the interview with the guys who did it and said nothing about the flat earth either. All it was asked about was a Coriolis. Coriolis. I know what you meant. And they said no, they didn't take that into account. Basically, what they were doing was they were experimenting, doing everything they needed to do, because that bullet was traveling for some ridiculous amount of time. They said like 24 seconds or something like that. That bullet traveled forever to hit that target. That bullet, like, I couldn't believe how long that bullet was traveling, but it traveled forever for them to hit that target. And no, it wasn't going around no earth, and no, it wasn't freaking trying to freaking compensate for the with you. These scientists and stuff, they're gonna mess with your brain, man. And if you take a look, I'm sure you guys have heard of LEO, low Earth orbit satellites, right? They have their particular distances from the surface of the Earth going up to the space. Now, I don't know if So NASA now has air-breathing satellites, right? Or they call them VLEO, or very low Earth orbits. So basically, what they're considering satellites travel that are 95 miles above the surface of the Earth, right? From 95 miles up to 250 miles. And here's the thing: do you know how they refuel? You're not going to believe it. They use the air. They use air, that the breathable air VLEO satellites. They're out there, and this is what they're claiming is the new hotness. The cat's meow as far as the constellation is concerned, right? So these things are out there doing Lord knows what, right? And this is their claim. So basically, I feel as if NASA and their brethren are kind of walking things back a little bit. They're like, oh, it'll save us money, it'll do this, it'll do that. We don't have to refuel it because we're using the air to help refuel. They're using the air to help refuel these VLEO satellite. Like, that's what you, okay. This is what the claim is. That's what the claim is. Okay. And so these are basically air breathing satellites doing the same function as a MEO, LEO, right? Or I guess in some respects, a HEO satellite, right? This is what they're talking about now. I don't know. Whatever, man. I just live here and I see it. I see things for what they are. And let's see. It was 44 miles. Oh God, dog. Oh my God. There it is. 44 miles. I listened to 44 miles and even I can't believe it. 1770 yards. That's like 5 miles. It's like a 5-mile shot. Something crazy like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is how long that bullet is traveling. It's got to travel all that distance. 770 yards, 44 miles. Jesus. 44 miles? Huh? I don't know if I'm having a tough time with 44 miles. I don't know. 770 yards. Okay, I could see that. Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. That's crazy to hit a target like that. That's amazing. Now I know the Navy has its rail gun, right? The huge rail gun where they take that big chunk of metal, they stuff it inside of a freaking Lord knows how many inch freaking rail gun barrel, and then they use some electromagnetics and then they fire that joker out, and it travels at around like close to like 8,000 miles an hour. That's crazy. But this thing is hitting a boat. You got to imagine striking another ship or a piece of property at a distance of freaking, god dang, like 9, 10, maybe 40 miles, right? And this thing is traveling at 8,000 miles an hour. Big old chunk of metal. And do you think they're actually the longest range shot was a team effort? Wasn't one? We know that. Yes, we know that. That's it. When we're just saying that it was shot, I am Wilson. We're saying that it was shot. Yes, it was a team effort. Yes, like we know that. It wasn't just one person just shooting, his damn 38 and then hoping for the best. No, it took a lot of calculations and everything else. Yes, and that's why I said like close to 5 miles. I said close to 5 miles, and I know what she meant. I was like 44 miles. That's crazy. I know what she meant. It wasn't no 44-mile shot. I get it. But no, we get it. The point didn't type. I got you. I got you. It is what it is. Typos happen, man. I make them shits all the time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like as you come in, family, make sure to like, make sure to sub, make sure to share, like, share, and sub, like, share, and sub. Right. And so, yeah, like I am Wilson, you got to do your research. And people in here of the globe that hadn't said nothing, you just think I'm dumb with a big old nose. Cool. But I highly recommend you do your own research, do your own due diligence, look it up, look after us, look behind us. Don't rely on Google for your answers, because a lot of times Google will deliberately lead you astray. Right. You got to do, if you give a damn about the truth, if you give a damn about the truth, you'll get your answer, and you'll get more than what you're looking for. I promise you. But the thing is you have to dig. Gold just doesn't appear to you unless you're robbing somebody. The only way you can get gold is if you dig for it, right? Anything worth having, you work for it. It just doesn't fall in your lap. And if it does fall in your lap, you won't know the struggle that it took to get to that point, and so you'll lose it, and rightfully so, because you didn't put in the hard work and effort in order to get to that truth. So if you want the gold, if you want that treasure, you have to dig. So that means the answers. If you want the truth, you got to dig. You got to go after it. You have to sincerely want the truth. If not, you're going to continue believing this nonsense that all these lies that these people are readily putting out, and they don't care that they're feeding you this nonsense. It's like McDonald's for your brain. They don't care that they're feeding you that, and you watch it. You just take it. You just take it like it ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? McDonald's for your brain. All this nonsense that they put out there, and you readily accept it, man. And they're poisoning the well. They're poisoning your brain. I highly recommend you detach from the matrix and you go and you look for yourself, right? And we give you all the more resources we do, the more digging we do together, right? The smarter we get as a unit, as a family, as a team, right? And we learn and we bounce ideas off of one another. But at the end of the day, if we don't know something, we truly don't know something. A lot of times we speculate. But what we do know at the end of the day is that it is not a ball. That much we do know. That much we can prove to you. Can prove that, right? That's not going to change. It's not. Who's in the house? Who do we got in the house? I really appreciate you guys coming out tonight and rocking with us, man. Rocking with us. Yeah, even you, I am Wilson. But Shannon, I appreciate you too. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending tonight and be and of course, this thing just glitches up. Anyway, family, let's tune in to Flat Earth Friday with the Ghost of Judah Tribe this Friday, 12 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. 11 p.m. Central. You know what it is. You know who it is. You know where it is. So other than that, family, I'm glad that you guys joined. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being here with me tonight. This was awesome. It was awesome. And yeah, hopefully I unfroze. You know what I'm saying? If you guys are just coming in, make sure to like, make sure to sub, make sure to share this content and much, much more that I have. I'm going to go ahead and go brush my chompers here in a little bit, and I'm going to call it a night. I got work here I got work in like 5 hours, so I can't be dicking around. Anyway, YouTube and Rumble family. And make sure to subscribe to my Rumble channel, because that's where I get to do all the cussing and all the this dang internet. Family, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Health, wealth, love, joy, prosperity, most of all, wisdom. Make sure to tune in on Flat Earth Friday with the Ghost of Judah Tribe here on his channel, the Ghost of Judah Tribe's channel. Flat Earth Friday, 12 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Central. Be there or be square. Definitely be flat. Health, wealth, love, joy, prosperity, most of all, wisdom. And with that, I love you. I'm out. Peace.